This is my in-depth guide on how to build your own deck in Clash Royale. That's actually good. There are over 120 cards in Clash Royale, so picking 8 cards for your deck can be not only confusing, but also overwhelming. But in today's video, you will learn what makes a great deck and how to build your own. Additionally, I will be giving you extra tips at the end that most players ignore, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on that. But let's start with what makes a great deck. Firstly, you need a win condition. A win condition is a card that ignores troops and goes straight for towers. Some examples are the Giant, Hog Rider, and Balloon, and their role is to get damage on the tower and win you the game. Here is a list of all the win conditions in Clash Royale. You can have one win condition that works on its own like the Hog Rider or the Electro Giant, or you can have 2 win conditions that work well together. Some common examples are Miner and Wall Breakers, and the Lava Hound and Balloon. The win condition needs to be the first card is your deck, because you will build your whole deck around it. After you pick your win condition, you need some air defense cards. These cards will be your primary defense for air troops, but they can also counter ground troops. When picking these troops, make sure they pair well with each other and your win condition. For example, if your win condition is Giant, you should probably pick something like the Baby Dragon because it can deal with any swarm units that are placed on the Giant. Another example is the Witch because she can deal with air troops and ground troops, but she can also support the Giant very well. So pick your air cards wisely and make sure they have synergy with one another. After air is ground. You need to pick a combination of 2 ground defenses that can deal with mini pushes and tanks. Now, there are so many ground cards in the game, which can make it hard to pick just 2, but I will give you a general idea on how to pick your ground cards. If you have chosen to play a cycle deck, picking a small distraction unit like the skeletons will be great, because it can take big hits from tanks and they are easy to cycle. But you can also take the knight since it provides solid health and good damage. But if you have chosen to play more of a bridge spam or beatdown deck, you want to pick 2 ground cards that can defend well, but also provide a threat on offense, because they will also support your push and deal damage. Some great combinations are Mini P.E.K.K.A. and Dark Prince, and the Golden Knight and Lumberjack. You get the idea. You just want to have a card that deals high damage, and the other that can deal with swarms, so they cover up each other's weaknesses. You can also pick a building instead of one of the air or ground cards because they can provide a lot of value. Buildings are typically used in cycle or bait decks, but they can work in any deck. They provide stability on defense, and they are great against win condition. Here is a list of buildings in Clash Royale. After ground defense is spells. Spells are probably the most powerful cards in your deck because they are so versatile. They can help break through defenses, defend pushes, and take towers. You will need 1 small spell and 1 big spell. The small spell will be primarily for swarms and cycle, while your big spell will help you break through defenses and deal the damage. Usually you would pair one of these small spells with one of these big spells. All you need to remember is WAGs. W for win condition, A for air defense, G for ground defense, and S for spells. WAGs. And lastly, you need to pick a tower troop. There are 4 tower troops, and each are good for their own scenarios. The Royal Chef is very powerful because he can level up cards, so use him if you are running a beatdown deck because he can buff your tanks. The Dagger Duchess is good against swarms, but not against tanks, so make sure to have some high damage dealers to combat this weakness. The Cannoneer is the opposite. He deals high damage, but has slow hit speed, so ensure you have cards that deal splash damage against swarms. If you don't know which one to pick, it's best to just pick the Princess because she is the most consistent and versatile. Now let's talk about elixir cost. No matter which deck you play, your average elixir cost should be somewhere between 2.5 and 4.5. If you pick a cycle deck, your elixir cost should be between 2.5 and 3.5. This is because the aim of cycle decks is to get positive elixir trades with cheap defenses, and to outcycle your opponent's counters to your win condition. Some examples are Log Bait and 2.6 Hog Cycle. Next is medium decks. Medium decks should cost 3.3 and 4 elixir, and these area usually bridge spam or control decks. These decks still have a relatively quick cycle, but a few big units here and there. If you are playing control or bridge spam, you want to defend first then counterpunch with your remaining units. But if you are playing a beatdown deck, your elixir cost should be between 4, ask 4.5, This is because beatdown relies on playing passive, then building big pushes in the late game to take towers. When picking your deck strategy, you want to choose your deck strategy according to how you like to play. If you like to control the game, then you should probably play a graveyard or miner control deck. But if you like to play quick, a cycle, bait or bridge spam deck is probably best for you. But if you want to be a menace to society, then play a golem or an electro giant deck. No matter which deck and deck strategy you play, you want to make sure of 3 things. 1. You will be able to upgrade it. There's no point trying to play a deck that is under-leveled because it has a lot of legendaries and epics, making it hard to upgrade. 2. You can stick to that deck. The worst thing you can do is keep switching decks, just because you lose a few games. If you keep switching decks, you won't improve at the game and you won't be able to level up one deck. Even if you are on a bad run, keep trying to improve and master that deck, and eventually you will have success. And 3 is to make sure you will have fun with this deck. The whole point of playing Clash Royale is to have fun, and if you can't even do that, then what's the point of playing? And the last thing you need to know is how to tweak your deck as the meta changes. When balance changes happen, cards in your deck may be buffed or nerfed, which can affect your deck a lot. For example, if you're using the Hog Rider in your deck and he got nerfed, he will not be as strong as he used to be. But if another win condition such as the Ram Rider got buffed, then switching her in for the Hog Rider will be a smart move. You should even make changes based on balance changes that do not directly affect your deck. Got example, the Royal Hogs Evolution was just released. Putting in a spell like the Fireball is a smart move since it's a great counter to the Hogs evolution. You don't want to change your deck up completely every meta, but making 1 or 2 small changes every season will greatly benefit your deck. So let's summarize what we learnt today. Firstly, we learnt what makes a great deck, which includes a win condition or 2 air defense cards, 2 ground defense cards and 2 spells, 1 small and 1 big. Then we learnt what each tower troops is good for and how to pick your own. After that, we went over how much your average elixir cost before going over which deck strategy you should pick. I then explained some extra tips, then I showed you how to tweak your deck based in the meta. And that is my complete guide to building your homemade Clash Royale deck that will actually work. Homemade decks are great, but if you want to play a proper meta deck to guarantee success, then click here to see the best 10 meta decks to reach 10,000 trophies.